Almost like Gerhard, or what is how? Gerhard. Okay, wonderful. Yes. Do we want to say our names again? So really quick.
Dennis,
Eric,
Boris,
Susan,
Robert,
Alan,
Kathleen,
Paul,
Ruth.
And David. So I guess normally you do meditation, right? So you usually lead it. Would you like to lead it, or would you like me to do something kind of unique?
I'd like you to do something.
Okay.
that would be great.
Okay.
I do it every year.
Because I have it every day here.
Okay. So let's just get still and spine erect, and whatever works for you in terms of pranic breathing and centeredness, going deep within.
David, I
Yeah.
need to leave, so should I know now before you start, so I don't break the energy?
When do you have to leave?
Like,
Right now?
Shortly, really quick, because I have to fly out.
Well, I'll give you a hug and you can leave, I guess.
I don't want you to start something and I break the energy of the group. That's why.
Oh, well, okay, so how soon would you have to leave?
Like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes meditation.
What's that?
You can have 10 minutes of meditation.
I don't think anybody would freak out if you just had to leave silently.
Yeah, just be quiet when you.
But it's probably better through the front door than there, because
I'll do it through the front door.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure so I don't do any. Okay,
no.
thank you.
It's okay.
I'd rather stay
Yeah.
for a few minutes, so thank you.
And so tonight, I would just like us to focus on a beautiful blue sun in the center of the room and in the center of your being. And just feel the radiance, the beauty, the harmony of this intense and yet gentle, perfected essence of the blueprint of all life, and especially of your life stream.
Cell phones off.
What's that?
Cell phones off.
Yeah. And swirling within this diamond shining blue light is the original seed ideation of your perfected essence as a spirit spark of God. It is that which gave you and gives you even now your purpose, your mission, your dharma. And this blue light energy field is intelligent, it is magnanimous, it's the most serene and yet powerful co-creative field, flow field of light. It knows everything about you, and it provides for you an impetus for self-realization way beyond any human expectations that you even have now. It taps you into the eternal aspect of your being, and yet it is so natural and effulgent that it just feels like a gracious blessing. harmonic boom to your soul. This blue fire light energy is perfect will, perfect intention, perfect focus upon what is real, eternal, divine. It is limitless. It is glorious. And you can breathe in that eternal spring of harmonic light into every cell of your being as you ingest it naturally. And the intelligence of every cell of your being, the sun within every cell, naturally just receives it into its core, vivifying it, internalizing its glory and splendor, and allowing it to recreate you in a higher, more sublime sense of your own beingness. It's not that you don't already have that, you do. It's just allowing it to be fully present where you are. And even though I'm speaking words, the inner silence is accessed by your ingestion of this light and this blue field of perfect equipoise and joy. And you internalizing this refreshment of the spirit, feel the cosmic pulsation of that eternal light energy. And now in waves. And the waves are undulating at a higher frequency, gradually. It's like an electrification of your electronic body with a new divine charge of spirit. Spirit glory, spirit splendor, spirit joy. All past records that have in any way burdened you or let go of, as you access perfect joy, perfect radiance, perfect centeredness, and you dive into the center of the sun, this blue fire sun. You just let go of any attachments, any burdens, any cares, any fears of any kind, giving yourself fully unto it and perfect surrender. And in this surrender, you merge with an eternal stream of pure beingness. That it is your right to experience, to enjoy, to know. You truly become like a little child again. And there's a glow about you that's that same glow that you felt as a little child. And you woke up and through expectation just desired to learn something in nature about life, about God, about beingness. All the adult facades that we've accumulated, accepted as a part of who we are just surrendered, transmuted, and our eternal glory shines forth in this beautiful state of innocence, of wonder. Now as you continue breathing in the blue fire light, your entire aura is saturated in it, breathe out the same light to all of humanity, the entire world, to rebirth the world in this blueprint of love, of presence, of joy, harmony, and peace. Through your holy breath, the breath of the Spirit that breathes through your nostrils, your lungs, you are refreshing the world in this divine glory by your consciousness raised to eternality, by your awareness one with the Source, by who you are as a creator, a co-creator with the divine, manifesting your purpose, your joy, your divinity. And your holy breath can go anywhere and everywhere you choose to send it, to imagine it, to direct it, to recreate the world in the image and likeness that you, one with God, desire it to be. Any situation, any relationship, wherever you choose that go to ennoble souls, raise spirits, free sentient beings, and liven the earth. As you see it, image it, and co-create it, it is so. There is no time or space between your perfect imagination of it and its realization. It is instantly manifest by the law of the One, by the light of the presence, by the joy of divine happiness. All sentient beings are one with you through the breath of God, and you are one with every form of life through the same holy breath. And you even go beyond breath to the breathless state, in the space between breaths, where within the great silence and stillness, there is only beingness. And I will stop speaking, and you can enjoy this breathless state. opportunity to go beyond this earth into the vast blueness of the cosmic ocean before we were even conceived in the heart of God, into the womb of the unknown. That from which all creation emerged. Before light was called forth to create the universe. And we feel our suchness, our isness, as a part of the one before manifestation. And in this isness, and divine suchness, we access to nothing, the all. Within ourselves. And we cherish that oneness state of being. And we pledge to ourselves to access this sacred state of being each day in some way, even for a few moments of time, in order to have the wherewithal to recall it and to utilize that suchness in our work, in our communiques, in our givings and offerings to humanity, in every daily interaction, in our love life with our beloved or with God, the great beloved. We embrace every sentient being as a part of ourselves, every mother being who has given birth to us in many incarnations, and we revere all as a part of ourselves from that point of isness and suchness. As we revere every sentient being, every form of life, we truly revere ourselves and love our higher self and our true self as we love every other form of life. And we fulfill this love, this unity field of beingness, and our co-creativity, our expressions, our gestures, our walk, our smile, who we are, deeply and internally inside. And we pledge to allow this suchness, this true essence of our divinity to manifest naturally, allowing it, accepting it as who we truly are, and the emergence of it within our lives, within our breath, within our meditation practice, our times of stillness, our work in our gardens, our enjoyment of nature and life itself, we re-tap into the collective of this unity field of beingness, of what has transpired this night and what will transpire every day and every evening for the duration of our time on earth and beyond. We feel what it must have felt like to be there with Gautama under the Bodhi tree when he reached that point of enlightenment through the processing of all of what became known as the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path in his consciousness. We sit with Jesus as he was meditating in the desert for 40 days, enjoying life and nature and coming to terms with his entire being. And we feel the resonant feel of what he experienced, what Shankara experienced, Bodhidharma, great sages of East and West. We actually resonate with them and we go back in timeless, spaceless beingness to merge with their beings, to feel what they felt, to know what they knew, to experience what they experienced. Beloved Yogananda, Sri Yukteswar, Lahiri, Mahasaya, Babaji, Krishna, Confucius, Lao Tzu. And we actually, by permission of each one, and by grace and by dispensation, receive the same spiritual essences that they were able to access in their lives, which is still alive and vital today. It's never lost. When they reached that point of self-realization, there was a new light released to the universe. And so we access that light, that beingness, that presence, and draw it deep within ourselves and allow it to reside there with the utmost humility, the most reverential grace. And then, because we also are solar beings and our eternal spirit, we add the momentum of every beautiful, perfect, and gracious thing that we've ever done in all of our rounds of existence to the sacred equation of co-creation that we as sovereign divine beings, part of the great collective, that have offered to humanity. And we add this gift, we offer this gift, we give this gift of ourselves, our hearts, our eternal minds, unto the one Spirit. As a child would offer a watercolor painting to her mother in joy. And God, the Eternal Father, Mother, receives our gift, blesses it, smiles upon us, dignifies us through that acceptance, and we feel validated, valued, cherished, loved. Now we go into the center of the earth, drawing the eternal cosmic substance from this point of before all that was, that we've entered, and we draw that suchness into the center of the earth, and we perfuse it throughout the earth, unto all peoples, all cultures, every landmass, all waters, for the purification, for the blessing of every particle of life. We are in the sun of even pressure within the center of our planet. a great, beautiful sun. And we stand in that sun, and we radiate light, love, peace, harmony to every sentient being. And we feel the appreciation of every form of life to our love, given universally, unreservedly, and with great intent and compassion. And now we return into our bodies more physically, gradually. Feeling the solidity of our new spiritual essence coalescing, integrating within us this higher form of awareness, this Christic consciousness and Buddhic awareness. We feel the transformational change, perfect health and vitality, cosmic awareness, lucidity, and most especially joy. And you can gradually now open your eyes. So Doug DeStefano is here, and we honor you and love you.
Thank you. Sorry I was late.
The chair is available.
Is it?
It is, it's open.
So it may be good to drink a little water, because water is really good to facilitate any spiritual experience to kind of, within our bloodstream. And
Yes, thanks. Thank you.
in a little while, we can just have open sharing. What I'd like to do, though, is I meditated on what we would do tonight earlier today. At about 4 o'clock, I started receiving these little quips, spiritual quips from a master named El Moria, who some of you may know of. And he's the one who basically sponsored the book that's over there on the table called Advanced Studies of the Human Aura. And he dictated to me 33 messages. The first half of the book was really his teaching. And then the second half of the book is kind of my experience with an understanding of the aura. And the first book the Heart Center published was actually his over 1,100 quips by El Moria. And these are just little pithy, sometimes Zen-like statements. The book was called Now, Zen, and Always. We don't have it here, but it's a fun little book. So he recently has been giving me these, and they're food for thought, and it's something for us to kind of meditate on. So I'll just share these, and then we'll open it up for whatever else we'd like to do tonight. So the first one is, befriend the God in all. Befriend the God in all. Be mindful through no thought. Be mindful through no thought. Accept every virtue as your natural birthright. accept every virtue as your natural birthright. Revolutionize beingness. I love that one. Revolutionize beingness. Stop thought in its tracks through love. Stop thought in its tracks through love. Develop angelic awareness of yourself. Develop angelic awareness of yourself. Be receptive to light and perceptive of love. Be receptive to light and perceptive of love. Clothe consciousness with solar raiment. Clothe consciousness with solar raiment. Season reason with stillness. Season reason with stillness. A graceful heart sings of God. A graceful heart sings of God. A determined will thrives through spiritual work. A determined will thrives through spiritual work. Cosmic consciousness includes the microcosm. Cosmic consciousness includes the microcosm. Gratitude facilitates miracles. Gratitude facilitates miracles. Perpetuate splendor, rehabilitate wonder. Perpetuate splendor, rehabilitate wonder. The virtuous know no limits. The virtuous know no limits. Oneness is a choice. Oneness is a choice. Trust in your divine voice. Trust in your divine voice. Mark my words. Mark my words. To develop your soul's sensitivity, breathe. To develop your soul's sensitivity, breathe. Let every avenue of expression lead to the holy city. Let every avenue of expression lead to the holy city. I drive the vanguard of the Spirit. We drive the vanguard of the Spirit. I'm kind of getting the feeling that there's 50 and that's 20, 21, that it's enough. Because each one of those we could talk for 10 minutes about, right?
I love mark my words.
Yeah.
Mark
So,
prophet.
yeah, well, it has a lot of meanings. So, I think it'd just be nice to go around the room and you can either share your experience of the meditation, talk about something that's gone on in your life lately, what meditation has done for you, or if you want to reflect on any of these, if you remember any, you can do that too. So why don't we go counterclockwise and start with Ruth?
Start with me. Okay. This is, I didn't mark your words because there's a buzz. There's no, it's a different language. I don't know, it's buzz. So it's hard to mark the words. Hear all of them.
Yeah.
This picture here. Sparkled around her, and the sparkle just keeps flowing out of her hands.
Oh, her?
Yeah, the one on the left.
Lady Venus, yeah. Sana, Kumara, and Venus.
Who's that?
Venus they're the hierarchs of the planet Venus, which there's life on Venus in the spiritual dimension, and they are like pure love.
Yeah, that's it. Sparkle. And every time it closes my eyes, it's open your eyes. Look, I did hear those words, but but it just sparkles out, and this, the helix. That's.
We love those. We have those in our sanctuary in Livingston too.
Pardon me?
We have the same images in our sanctuary in Livingston.
But she's there.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful.
And it just doesn't matter. Whatever it is you hear is right for you. And not all of it is for you, so I don't know about that van.
Oh, the Vanguard?
No, he keeps saying van.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah. But the mark my words, I heard. I'm looking, okay, where's Mark?
Thanks, Rick.
During the meditation, I noticed quite a difference in our usual Tuesday because about the last 3 or 4 months. I think we've been preparing for this weekend. So there was a distinct shift of light. So in preparation, there was a lot of angelic motion, usually in counterclockwise, and then a great peace. Here, this evening, my sense was an immediate light that was here. Of course, she was out of town for this weekend, so I'm sure there was a lot that presence that came through. So that was just something I tuned into immediately, and as the meditation progressed, that just dissipated into being with all of the spiritual energy that was here with us. The words, the first 3 that you said, and I forgot what they were, but the first 3 resonated very well. After that, words I tend not to. They don't have much of an impact on me because I'm just really more present with the energetics. That's usually my experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I was happy to drive the van around the avenues of the Holy City, so I do like the words. And making sure these are going up and down. Yes. Okay. So at first, it sounded like the ball of blue light was in the center of the room, and then it was in me, and then I was starting to see, or sort of, I don't know, see or feel or something, the blue, and it was almost, you know how neon blue is different than, so it was a color of light. It wasn't a color of blue like you see in like your clothes, but it was a blue light. And then I felt us small and then big and then encompassing everyone and all of us, and it, surrounding all of us in a big blue, and we're going up. And then my brain kicked in, and I thought, oh, I'm so glad, because if there was an explosion down the block, we're all surrounded in this blue ball and we'll be safe, because blue is safety. So, but I was kind of like feeling and thinking all at the same time, and this blueness and love. And then you introduced Elmoria, whose color is blue, and how beautiful. So, and today's Tuesday, so it all kind of goes together. So it was lovely. Thank you.
For those that don't know, a bicyclist
Gas
there's like all these emergency vehicles just down the block, right? Like 2 blocks away.
When was this?
There was lots of lights.
What's that?
There was lots of lights.
This
There
late
was
afternoon.
blue ones and red ones.
So,
And
like,
A few hours away.
5 o'clock, 5:30?
Yeah, this afternoon.
Right there on
Wow.
the end of the street.
So it's like
We're protected.
really close to here.
Well, if I had an option,
Can you hold that higher so we can hear you? Thank you.
if I had an option to have a shirt like that design with on it, I would buy it. In fact, in the 70s, I did just that from Robinson May Company. So I don't know. I don't really have much to say about that, except I think it's beautiful and it works for me as an uplifting energy. And the more I understand it, which the better I like it.
Are you talking about the lady or the one over here on
The one on the left.
the left? Okay.
Mm.
That's from the St. Germain Foundation, or the I Am Movement. And it's their chart of, what do they call it? Chart of the Divine Self or something like that. It's really old. It's from the 1920s, I think. Yeah.
And you have a T-shirt that looks like that?
What's that?
You have a T-shirt that looks like that?
No, it's a long sleeve dress shirt.
Wow.
It's got that print on it?
Yeah, it's got several of those on it. Not one or two big ones. They're kind of like all over.
Wow.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's unusual.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, neat.
So when I first meditated, I had a feeling of transcendence just going up. It was scary because I'd never meditated before, and it was dark and I was alone. Then the next night, I just had that feeling of sinking down, and down and down and down and down and down, et cetera, et cetera. The third night, I had both the up and the down. It just felt like Buddha that was just expanding, like big stone, immense Buddha. I'm thinking, wow, this stuff is powerful.
Great. Thank you.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience at meditating, but I do have a lot of experience at visualizing. And I'll go into my visualizations, and go places. And the experience tonight was, I was with it for, I agree with this man over here. I was with it in the beginning, like the blue light and so forth. And then when it came to the ocean of the stars, and I got this new star chart and everything, and so it's an app on my phone. And so when it was dive into the ocean of the stars and everything, I kind of went out there somewhere. I didn't really want to come back. And so I left part of myself back, and I stayed here sufficiently to get to listen to what was going on, but I was kind of in two places at once. And then the center of the earth, I couldn't resist. So I went see if there was any friends down there.
I was wanting to know if anybody saw the moon last night, because I looked at it carefully.
That's
And
like
it
the
looked-
light coming down, like rays of coming down from the moon when we stepped outside last night. Yeah, it was like,
Well, what I saw was kind of
like this
like
way,
this,
so
like a
this way.
flashlight or headlight, and right in front of it was it was like right at it was a little tiny star right in front of it, and I'm thinking that is the most interesting, unusual thing I've ever seen.
How could a star be in front of the moon?
The planet?
Well, if it was a headlight, not in front of it towards you,
I see.
but in front of, if it was a light shining like that, would be right like at the other end of the moon, except it was a new moon.
Did you recall what time?
What?
What time did you see that?
Well, I saw it at the 11 and 12, and I looked at it various times, and it looked like the moon was moving just a little bit in a couple hours. So it was more exactly perpendicular to the center axis.
Cool.
Isn't Venus or Jupiter
This is,
close to the moon like that
Uh,
sometimes?
I didn't see that. I just focused on
That
that it was just real tiny.
real
I
time?
think a lot of people wouldn't even see it at all.
Hmm.
It was beautiful.
Sounds like it. Well, I can't say much about the meditation since I got here late, but it sounded like it was really good. I liked what I experienced. I think, right around when we went into the earth, and I visualized that state of suchness, I think you called it, that went out. I envisioned it going out to the oceans, but I thought of the atmosphere around the earth as like a secondary ocean. So it went out all the way out that far. And as far as what Elmira was saying, I was trying to remember one of them. I know there was one that really I liked, but I cannot recall it now. There were so many. I think it was something with love, and I can't remember how it went, but I like that.
And for the benefit of everybody else, where do you live, Doug?
Here in San Marcos?
Oh, okay, San Marcos.
Yeah, not far. I just unfortunately had an important call come in just when I was ready to leave, and it held me up. So
Right.
that's the way it goes sometimes.
I'd prefer not to be recorded. I wasn't informed of the recording. I do want to give thanks though for the.
You could just share about without doing the recording. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep it far away from her.
Tonight, I think I'll, maybe I'll put this under
adjust that a little bit.
Now, would you like to?
Yeah, I think you brought it up now, so if everybody's okay with that, I can just adjust it
Okay.
now.
You right here.
The masters really encourage us to self-discover who we are, and we're all co-creators. So whatever brings you the greatest joy, whatever brings you self-fulfillment, whatever utilizes your talents and gifts in their highest expression, that's what you should go for. And you can actually create your perfect job in your mind and then visualize it and put it on paper visually with pictures that you draw or you find pictures. Create how much money you'd like to make, where you'd like to work, with whom, if anybody, out of your home if you'd like. Create the perfect job for yourself as if you were the creator of it and God gave you the full authority to just decide what you desire to do, what brings you the greatest joy and fulfillment. And if we really accept that we're sons and daughters of God and we are co-creators, I mean, if I were God, I would allow my children to have the most beautiful life possible by endowing them with what they require to manifest it. So I think God, and if I think that that's how I would do it if I were God, and I am God, and you're God, and we're all God, then go for it. So in my life, just as my own example of how this works, I've done treasure maps and things like that, and like at one point I did a treasure map when I started an art gallery, and I had all this imagery on it, I had all these goals on it, and I kind of, I used it for a number of years, then I moved to another location, and I kind of had it somewhere else, and I wasn't looking at it every day like you're supposed to, and I found it years later, everything on there but one had been fulfilled. Everything on it but one thing. And the one thing that wasn't was I kind of, in jest, put a little jet on it for one of my salesmen, who was my best salesman, because I owned an art gallery and I had salesmen. And I said, this is Bob's jet, And of course, it didn't happen because that would have cost millions of dollars. It was kind of a joke. And I knew it was a joke, but I put it on there as fun. But everything else on that treasure map came to fruition because I co-created it. So instead of asking me to tell you what your perfect job is, I'm reflecting back to you. You are God. You create your own job. And the title isn't as important as the work, where you desire to be, with whom, and the perfect situation. I know people that have done this, and they got it to a T. They got it to a T. Now, we have a book that we give to people in the Heart Center who donate. And it's called I'm Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams. I am. And we have lots of copies left, probably 20 left in Montana. If you give us your name and address, I'm going to ask Kathleen to have us send you the book. And if you read that book and follow it, I can guarantee you that within a year, if you follow that book to a T, you will be amazed what will happen in your life for the perfect situation to manifest. I guarantee it. But you have to follow it to a T. And if there's anybody else here who would like that book, we will gladly send you the book. Okay? I'm rich beyond my wildest dreams. I am. I interviewed the co-authors on a radio program a couple years ago. And it's Tom, Paulie, and his wife, his daughter, Penelope. Tom and Penelope Paulie. And it's a great story. He didn't believe any of this woo-woo stuff of New Age stuff, and his neighbor came over, and she was a manifester, and she was like into New Age stuff. And he resisted it for a while, and he finally said, okay, I'll try what you say. And he did it, and then things started shifting in his life. And now he's a true believer. And it's partly the law of attraction, but it goes way beyond that. It's really, it includes giving back, to the universe, or tithing. He says tithing, but you tithe to what brings you spiritual fulfillment, whether it's an organization or whatever it is. That's just one little part of the book, but the story itself is amazing. And, I've studied positive, all kinds of positive, PMA, what are they? Positive mental attitude, all this stuff. Napoleon Hill, Robert Collier. This book is one of the absolute best books I've ever read for manifesting. It's awesome. So I just put it back to you. You create. You're a co-creator. Once we take accountability and responsibility that we're co-creators, the universe coalesces light, energy, and divine substance around what we imagine, what we conceive of, what we idealize through our third eye, through our belief, through our acceptance. And then you can have it. With the caveat that you're not attached to it. Because really, what's the purpose of having all that if you can't enjoy it in a non-attached state? You know what I mean? And then when something better is ready for you, you're open to that. So don't get stuck in what you perceive as your job or your vocation. If God or the divine you desires to move you into something even more awesome and free you from constraints self-limitation that you've put on yourself. So I could tell you about my life has been totally blessed from infancy by just being available and ready to make shifts and changes. And I think once we're ready, the universe conspires to help open doors and make it all happen beautifully in the most amazing ways that we can imagine. So anyway, that's the answer that I would like to offer.
I would add to that when one door closes, another one opens. More opportunities. And one really good exercise that you can do is, let's say you have $1 billion right now. What would you do? What's your passion? So start thinking, what would you do if you have all the money in the world? Just write it down. What's your perfect life? What would you add to your life? So when you start thinking about that, it will get some answers to you what your really passion is. So you can try that exercise. That may really help you to understand what your really passions are. And basically, where your skills meet the needs of the world, that's where your vocation lies. So you have to figure out all that. So I'm very blessed that we are here in this space with your energy. It's so much more powerful. We do the meditations every time. We're doing it more on the more silent part. We don't talk as much, but it's so beautiful to guide us. And I usually like the Shakti Gawain creative visualization meditations and all those. So that was with the light and all that. So I really loved it and enjoyed the blue light and everything. So it's really powerful. I'm still so impressed by our penwritten that we did on Sunday, that we were able to fill in the whole circle. Like the entire circle was filled up. There was no more space for more people. So it was so great that we had that energy and we brought it here, and this been space like 1, 2, 3 days in a row, being so many prayers and rosaries and you're speaking, so the energy is very dense. Very, very thankful. I'm so much looking forward to the Conscious Life Expo that's happening now in Los Angeles. Amazing speakers are gonna be, like starting with Ricky Beckwith. She's gonna be singing, and some other artists on Friday. And then there will be Nassim Haramein talking about the holographic universe and the consciousness. And there's gonna be like amazing speakers from all. And you're gonna be doing on the 20th in the evening, or?
I'm giving 2 talks, one on permaculture.
Permaculture, I have it in my schedule to come in. and see you and all those other places. It's like really is going to be like a wild one after another.
So,
I have a full program.
Haramain's
Haramain is
gonna
going to be two lectures and one workshop. And I'm like 5 minutes from him, and I spent last time 5 hours in his house. so we are now neighbors. Nassim Haramein is the new Einstein. He figured out the theory of the quantum physics. His neighbor, yes.
Wow.
Yes, it just turns out to be like that. And we're best friends now with Jonathan Quinton that lives with him. He's born in New Zealand and traveled in Australia, lives all around 60 countries around the world. We spend like really, really nice, yeah.
We're the Heart Center is having a booth, and David will give 2 talks and lots of blessings at the booth. So
Yeah.
come by and see us when you have some time.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna come and check you out. It will be something really exciting. I've never been to the Los Angeles Expo. I've always been to other places in Chicago, but this will be my first one. So it will be something to look forward. Yeah. Thank you so much. And here is my friend that has been in Bulgaria for so many. That's really amazing.
Thank
you. What's the chances?
2 or 3 times.
A few times.
Kept going back.
Actually, you lived how long in Bulgaria?
I spent probably 2 months there in
2
Bulgaria.
months. That's good. That gives you some idea.
What resonated with me in the meditation was the energy of the blue sun, the core of the earth, and then the child nature. And all of those things just make me smile. What I'm really interested in talking about, and just openly with the group, is about evolution from this dimension to the 4th dimension, because that's where I'm at, and that's something that
You feel, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
is, I mean, I've been working on letting go of time in this physical, letting go of everything to exist as pure divine energy. But like that is where I'm at, and I've had a couple points where I've gone into the center of the earth and I've seen like the core, and I felt like the birthing happening, but I came up from that and said, we're not ready. And like I came all the way back down like an electron, like an excited electron, all the way back down to this. And I know that I'm everything and I wasn't ready. And my individual awakening and like my consciousness has gone from, like in Bulgaria, going from like individual to collective, and, national, global, and it's going, like cosmic. And like, I mean, that's just what I like.
Yeah. You're right there.
We're right there. Like, it's...
Well, the more of us that have that experience, it just accelerates the great shift for everybody.
like a supernova, like everybody, like the collective awakening, and it's like a supernova of energy. And
Yeah.
Made the leap. We all made the leap, because for now it's just a matter of growing and going more and more into that direction and expansion.
Well, the supernova, what he said, that's what I experienced tonight.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I experienced. Is the blue fire sun, and then the supernova is when it just expands out to everything. Yeah, so you hit it right on the head.
yeah. Supernova 1987A.
Well, I want to first thank myself for allowing you to give the meditation. Because what a release, what a beautiful download that was, and so transcendent. And what really resonated with me is when we went into the unknown, beyond creation, and in that place where before we were even created, I was hanging out there. I was just floating, yet aware and unaware, and nothing and something, and that's the place to go. It's just so peaceful there. So I like that part the most for myself, and well, the whole meditation. But that part, the way it was worded, the way it was phrased, it clicked, turned a dial in my super conscious brain, and I was able to drop down into a place of absolute, I heard a word that was just said, now. And then it would sit there, and then now, and it would just sit there. And I would just watch and look out into the vast emptiness. And another word would be now again. And I would just float there. And then I said something like, Carla, come sit with me. So that was a sweet part. And El Moria is so funny in those quips. This brings my, as I think about some of them, they just I get a little crack up about it, and how he puts things together like that. It's amazing, really, really Zen. I love the Zen stuff, the way he does that, and I think he wants to keep us light and happy and bubbly and not get burdened down with what we think this world is, and not get caught up in the dream world of politics and confusion and everything. Just stay happy, stay focused on your self-realization, and move forward. Always move forward. Thank you, David.
Well, I was kind of an observer of what El Mario was doing, leading the meditation, as well as, dictating his words. But when we got to the breathless state, I've been there in meditation where you get to the breathless state, and that's where perfect peace is, where you're in the universal consciousness, and you have to let go of everything. So I don't know how many of you have actually experienced that if you've studied through SRF or Ananda, Yogananda's Kriya Yoga, you can get there if you go through the disciplines of daily meditation every day, once or twice a day, preferably twice or more. And you really can reach that state. And some people can reach it without necessarily guidance by lessons. It's just by your own higher self teaching you how to do it. But when you reach that breathless state, you don't experience time or space. You could meditate for hours and hours and it feels like 2 minutes. And I've experienced that, and even though this was kind of a short meditation, I really desired for us to just maintain that stillness for 45 minutes, but Susan had to leave and everything. But because I just desired to stay there too, like some of you. I would have rather just not said another word the whole night, really. But the breathless state is something that when you actually get it, it allows you to have the most amazing oneness with God. It's not just to experience the breathless state. It's really all about pure love, oneness with God, and that's the purpose for me of meditation. It's not just to experience bliss, because yeah, we can all go into a bliss state, but for what purpose? The purpose is to become one with God. If we're doing things for any other reason than to become one with God or glorify God, magnify God, I think we have to look at our motives, because to me, the purpose of everything is oneness. So the breathless state is where you feel that oneness. You experience it, you grok it, or you totally know it. And we can't necessarily live in that if we have a job in the world, every moment of every day. However, you can bring that experience into your life so that you maintain presence, you maintain equanimity, you maintain a sense of holiness and stillness in everything, so that everything swirls around you and you're in the center of the cosmos where you are, because you are in the center of the cosmos when you're in that state. And you become a nexus for healing, for wholeness, for anyone and everyone that comes to you, for love, for spiritual nourishment or whatever. And I'm sure all of you at some point on the path have either already been instrumental in helping people through teaching, through sharing, through just your example. The most important thing is your example, your life, your light. The breathless state, when you get there and then you can retain that essence throughout your day, allows you to be the best example and teacher you can possibly be, because you are real. You're not just talking your talk, you're walking that talk, and the sublimity and the beauty and the perfection of it. So I'm looking forward to hearing this meditation again and experiencing again, on my own with other groups of people, because I think it was, for me, it really, because I was there through the whole, him guiding us through it, I reached that breathless state again. I may have still been breathing a little bit. It's not like I stopped completely breathing like the yogis actually do in the East, who've been meditating for decades in caves and stuff. But I reached enough of it that I could have gone for hours just totally still and not, just been in that perfect space of pure love. So I think just for the future, when you come here to Dennis's place on Tuesdays and meditate, you don't have to do the guided meditation again. I just would hope that the purpose of the meditation practice is ultimately to bring you closer to your divinity, to God within, and to oneness through stillness. That's all. That's really all I have to say. So, what time is it? And we go till when? 24, we go till 9, 9-ish, or what? Or 8:30?
9.
Oh, 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody have anything else they'd like to share after?
The breathless state, my experience with the breathless state is no desire.
Exactly.
No desire to think. Well, there isn't any thinking. And no desire to breathe.
Right.
But no desire to do anything either. So it's like letting gravity, no movement, nothing, and there's just gravity, and that's about it.
That's it. It's gravity, but it's also weightlessness. I mean, it's kind of,
Yes.
it's,
Yeah.
you just feel, you don't feel anything almost.
I thought he was going to float away.
Yeah. Yeah, but that would be the
He
real,
sat up like
real
this when I'm going,
importance
is he still on the ground?
of myself, of that experience,
Yeah.
and like it's a portal,
Yeah.
and that, to me, that highlight is that total lack of feeling like I wish to do anything, including breathing.
Right. And it's complete non-attachment.
Yes.
And that's the Buddhic state. Non-dual state, non-attachment. I think that's what Buddha realized under the Bo tree. And that's what all the teaching he gave was to help bring us to that state of non-attachment. Yet in the West, through our monkey mind, through thinking, through all the thought processes that we're trained to do from youth, it's drummed into us as little kids to think about this, think about that, analyze this, call this this is that, this is that, this is this color. We identify all these things in school, and so immediately we're training the carnal mind. So it's almost like you have to uncreate all that through stillness to get back to oneness, where you can know everything instantly by perception, observation, and the knowingness of what is through God and through the presence. I mean, that's kind of how I perceive it. Okay, anybody else?
So is that the same thing as what some traditions have called tuning into the mind of Christ?
Well, yeah. Let that mind be in you which was in Christ Jesus. That Christic mind is a universal mind which has access to all wisdom. But how does it have access to all wisdom? It is, and it fills all space, and so it just instantly knows. It's like, I know for me, when I stop and get still and listen, any question I ever have really can be answered by the universe. It just comes naturally because I'm not trying to get it. It just I have to be accepting and listening to be still. Because that's when the inner voice can be heard. If you're talking internally and your mind's going, you can't hear the inner voice because your voice is supplanting it, right? Because through non-stillness. So I think that the universal Christ mind, we access that through stillness. So Jesus in the wilderness obviously had to be meditating, and he had to get really still in order to facilitate that sacred space that he accessed to begin his mission for the next 3 years or whatever. And Buddha did the same thing out of the Bo tree. I mean, he had to be still. So, I don't know, we're in the Western world, for us non-yogis, it's just, really one of the only ways to get there is through meditation, in my opinion. Because of all the training that we have to mindfulness, which is not Buddhic mindfulness, but it's to fill our mind with stuff. And so we really have to empty that. Anybody else? Catherine, do you? Oh, good.
Okay. When you stopped the breath, when you started breathing again, it was the ha breath, the breath of life manifesting. And there was nothing, and then it was like, it was very...
Yeah, it was pronounced. When I breathed a few times, I wasn't trying to do anything, it just happened.
No, it was like the breath of life manifesting.
Right. I agree. Dennis, do you want to say what else happens here the other days of the week and what opportunities there are in the future?
tomorrow is Mother Mary's Rosary. It's a new age rosary to Mother Mary, not the traditional one, and a healing service. And then on Thursdays, between 7 and 8, is Kuan Yin's Rosary to the Divine Mother of the East. We've never done the Kuan Yin Rosary. It's very beautiful, and there's great visuals. Usually we just do it with recording. And then on Sundays at 8:30, we do Panurhythmy at Quest Haven. And so there's 4 things going on. 3 days here, 1 day at Quest Haven. If you join the meetup group, you go to meetup.com and type in the Hearts Center, Hearts with a plural S, center.org. You'll see Sonic Kamara, Lady Master Venus, or Saint Germain, and you'll know you got the right spot. So Eric, you found us. What did you see? Just what you saw. Yeah. And so you vibed us and came over. We're also using Awakening Heart website too a little bit. So
That's him. Absolutely.
that's how you say it. This weekend we're going to be in Los Angeles. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I guess Thursday we're setting up, and then
Thursday we set up.
Thursday night we're
Or,
setting up.
well, either Thursday night or Friday morning.
Friday
We can
morning
do-
we're
we have a
setting
choice.
Friday is
So-
officially starting the expo.
It's 3 o'clock it opens. Yes. 3 o'clock it opens.
If you sign up for the meetups, also you'll know when David is coming, and the special events that we have here, prayer visuals or something to do with the solstice, tremendous release of light. We do rhythmic prayers called decrees. We do affirmations, rosaries, meditations. It's a full 3 days of prayer work and change. We're doing it to change the planet. We're doing it to raise the vibration of the planet. A lot of groups do not know about the science of the spoken word and how every word that we speak by the power of the Holy Spirit can affect change on this planet. And when we do it as a group, it's very powerful. And the results are, you can even find in the newspapers. What happened like in Fukushima, we had a special prayer vigil. We all walked down to the ocean. We did prayers here, and we visualized the radiation dissipating. We had all sorts of masters that came to help with that process through these heart streams, which are these downloads that David gets from the Ascended Masters. That's pretty much it in the summarize.
Yes. And we broadcast every morning, well, Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m.
California, 6 to 8:30.
8:30 in the morning, live, and then
It's the best morning radio ever.
Oh wow!
and it's free.
It's free
And
every day. You can do it. You can tune in through your internet, or you can tune in through your phone, or your mobile device too. Of course, your cell phone.
Can you turn in later on in the morning?
Yeah,
And later you can do a replay.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have.
You have to kind of know where to go to find it. But Mondays and Thursdays we broadcast from Mount Shasta. Thursdays from Kathleen and Robert's home. Monday from another couple's home. Tuesdays we typically broadcast, well, probably will be from Santa Monica now.
Yeah.
Wednesday from Livingston, Montana, where I live. Fridays from Detroit. And then Saturday is alternating with different,
Sometimes South Africa. Very, very exciting.
And then, well, yeah.
And
then-
Chile and.
Yeah, Chile, from Spain, from Sweden or Norway, and then from Canada. We have broadcast centers all around the world. And then I will give a live message usually on Wednesday mornings for sure, every week. And then, except maybe not tomorrow, I don't know, because I'm here, not in Livingston. And then typically 2 or 3 other times a week just depends on what I'm doing. And then, if it's not live, it's a recorded one.
And we have a new Friday evening service.
Yeah, we
Is
have
it
one Friday a month from Livingston, one Wednesday a month from Livingston, and then we have a 24/7 broadcast once a month from Saturday 6 p.m. to Sunday 6 p.m. 24 hours straight. It's called a cascading vigil.
Wow.
And that's to really saturate the earth with light. And so we have broadcasts from all over the world on that, during that 24-hour period. So it's usually the first weekend of the month. And then our next big event, besides the LA Expo this weekend, is in Maui next month, right at the spring equinox. And it's kind of full, but if anybody here wanted to come for, I think it's 5 days, right?
5 or 6.
Right over, you can check our website out. And then we have in May, or late April, I'm coming back for the San Mateo Expo. And then we're going up to
Fresno and Yosemite the next weekend.
Yosemite. And
In
we're praying
May.
for good weather so that the snow melts, because there can be snow even early in May, right?
Fairies and gnomes and fun.
And June,
expert.
at the
Rocks to sit
solstice,
on.
in Livingston, we have a 4-day conference, and then one day before that, we have a Anastasia in the Garden class at my property, my wife and my property, and it's on permaculture, basically, and the teachings of Anastasia. And I've been privileged to actually, she's the one exception to the rule that I can receive a heartstring from her, and it's because she's not yet an ascended master, at least in the higher octaves. She is, I was told she is one of the 2 highest beings on the earth in feminine form. And if you've read the Anastasia books, has anybody read those?
The Ringing Cedar series.
Ringing Cedar.
Not
Cedar.
part of it, not all of it.
Yeah, she's a mystic from the taiga, which is the forests of Russia, and she's amazing. She can bilocate and stuff like that. So, but
She's living.
she's actually on the earth, alive. She's not just she's a physical being.
And she is not coming physically.
No, she's not physically coming. No.
And I was for a moment I thought that she is physically coming to that day to give the
Well,
talks.
Not many people get to see
she
it.
can bilocate, but she doesn't do it.
Maybe she
But-
can do that
But
for a few minutes.
the gift I have is called clairaudience.
Audience.
Clairaudience. So it's like clairvoyance
Here.
but through
You
here.
tune into
It's telepathic, And it's just, I was never expecting anything like this in my life. It just kind of happened one day. So, the Catholic Church calls it locution. It's like when St. Teresa of Avila would receive a dictation from Jesus, or Mary of Agreda would receive a dictation from Mother Mary. So there's precedence for it, even
And
like the
how do you
Catholic
know
Church.
who is speaking at that moment?
It's telepathic, I know.
They just, you know it.
I know it through knowing. It's not,
They're not saying, I'm this and I'm going to speak to you.
well, it's just, once you know. There's no
Clairsentient.
equivocation. What's that?
Clairsentient, the
Yes,
knowing.
exactly. Yeah. And it's not, at first it was so wild when it was first happening, I had to kind of like, is this really happening?
When was the first time?
What?
When was the first time?
Oh, it was June 6th or 7th, 2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. And but then it was natural. It's not, I don't have to think about it.
It just
I'm
happened.
not in thought. I'm not in my brain, so to speak. So. But I don't call it
are you conscious
I
of
don't-
what's
I don't
happening through you?
Yeah, I don't call it channeling because
Okay.
I personally don't really like that term, even though I think we all channel something from our higher self, all of us, when we're pure channels, so to speak. But there's a lot of channeling out there that to me is kind of like from places that I don't go.
Would it be like translating from a energy?
It's telepathic. Yeah, it's translate. It's kind of being an amanuensis or a secretary, really, more than anything. That's really what it is. It's like, so we call them heartstrings, and there's 3 types of heartstrings. One is dictation, where the master really just kind of like takes over almost my vocal cords and just speaks through me, almost with me not even being there, so to speak. I'm fully conscious, but I'm not in a trance. But it's like I fully surrender my being so that they can just do it. So that's a dictation. Then there's darshan, which is where there's questions and answers from people. Either people will ask the master a question, they will overshine me, but there's still part of me there. It's obvious that part of my mind is working there, and it's not just purely only them, because it's a different dynamic. And then there's what we call just discourses, where they inspire me, but it's basically me speaking. It's not just directly their words. So there's 3 different types. We call all of them heartstrings, but there's dictations, discourses, and darshan. So it's pretty interesting stuff. And there's over 4,400 of them on our website. You can access for free. Many of them have transcriptions. Some are just audio. And now, in the last 5 years or so, virtually almost all of them are on video too.
Wow.
But we don't always upload the video right away, because it takes time and money and a person to do it all. So
And that's what these books are.
yeah, these books, all of these books originally, at least most of the book was originally a heartstring, that then was transcribed, and then for the book it gets edited a little bit, just because you take conversational speech and put it into the written word. You have to make it work for a book. It's not just completely always word for word. It's close. I mean, many of them are very close, but when I stumble or something, if I lose a little thread of a thought or can't quite get the word that they want to speak, I do the best I can as an instrument, but humanly, no one's perfect in terms of being a perfect channel for that type of thing.
So when we were talking about that breathless state, and then you had some comments after mine, I would, and also this happened during during the meditation, is the words would almost go out of mind, or they would kind of go out of mind for me, but I would sense energetically the message. So that would come through for me, and that's how I get it.
Exactly, yeah.
So it would, and through about halfway through your comments, it was like a big spark that just came in for me, and but that's how I normally would experience that, particularly in this.
We all have these higher gifts, and every one of us can be an instrument for higher consciousness to flow through. Like when I saw Michael Beckwith in Los Angeles years ago, I mean, he was doing what I do, but without calling it what I call it. I mean, he's just totally a messenger of love and light. I mean, do you all know Michael Beckwith?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
He's in Agape Church here
yeah,
in Los
Agape
Angeles.
Church. He's just amazing.
And his wife is singing and opening the LA Expo with her singing.
Yeah. So, and we're trying to get me this book on Afra. I mean, it's that's an amazing book, and we're trying to get him a copy because if he reads that, he'll be blown away. I mean, in a nice way. So, anybody else?
What's it called, Afra?
Well, this is my newest book. It's called our newest book, because it was a group project called Living a Soulful Life, Afra's New Teachings on Love, Brotherhood, and Freedom. So Afra was the first ascended master from the continent of Africa who ascended 35,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has huge attainment. I mean, his attainment is phenomenal. And the first time he came through me in Detroit, his voice was very low. And it's like, I wasn't trying to lower my voice, he lowered it. And he was like for 20 minutes, my voice was very deep. And it was kind of funny on one level, but because he's so full of soul. It's like the African people, right? They talk about soul trains, soul brothers. There's a lot to that because they have the development of their souls as generally as a race. And so this whole teaching is on soulfulness, which is beautiful. Because we don't, in our culture, we've kind of lost that essence a lot through materialism. It's time to get it back.
It's moving that way. Conscious capitalism, some of the other very strong movements, when you mentioned about soulful life, almost a similarity is not only a soulful life, but a purposeful life.
Yeah.
And that's a very strong movement that's growing. But that's kind of
Christianity,
key.
yeah. Purpose-driven life, yeah. Well, it's been great, everybody. It's getting probably close to 9, right?
Yes.
Just in closing, so there is another website, the master website, which is the heartcenter.org, www. You can check that out where you get all those free downloads. If you buy these books, David will sign them for you right now. Saint Germain has said that if you buy his book, that he would sign a message to you from David personally. That's the advanced study in alchemy. And then
Well, the same with all 4 of them. Mother Mary, Saint Germain, El Morya, and Afro. Just get a personalized message.
so they're like 1995. Consider it, and thank you everybody for coming.
Someone had to traces it. This one's 1995. This one is 1995. This one's 1895, and this one's cheap. The cheapest, 1695. Probably turn that off.
So this message is gonna go